Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely change how you talk to AI. We're going to move past just asking simple questions and start giving powerful commands, turning Google Gemini into the incredible personal assistant it was built to be. All right, let's get into it.
So, first things first, we have to talk about why the way you ask matters so much. Seriously, it's the bedrock for getting anything useful back. You ever get a response from an AI and just feel underwhelmed? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The problem probably isn't the AI, it's the prompt. See, you might be asking it simple questions, but the real magic happens when you start giving it effective commands. And here's what I mean. The difference is night and day. On the left, a vague ask like, write a blog post, gets you a totally generic, boring answer. But on the right, when you give it a structured, detailed command telling it who to be, what to write, for who, how long, and how to format it, you get back a sharp, targeted piece of content that's actually ready to use. That clarity makes all the difference. Okay, now for the really cool part. Modern AI like Gemini isn't just about words on a screen anymore. It has, for lack of a better word, senses. It can perceive and understand the world in ways that are pretty incredible. The fancy term for this is multimodal, and trust me, it is a complete game changer. It means Gemini isn't just reading text, it's seeing your images, watching your videos, and listening to your audio, often all at the same time, in the same conversation. This ability to fuse different kinds of information together, well, that's what unlocks a whole new level of possibility. Just think about what this means for a second. You can have it read a dense report, look at the charts in your slides, watch a long YouTube video, or even listen to a meeting you missed. It takes all of that context and weaves it together to give you insights that a text-only AI could never dream of. So instead of spending an hour slogging through some 50-page research paper, you can literally just upload the file and ask, hey, what are the most important takeaways here? That's a huge amount of time saved right there. Or check this out. You can give it a super complex data chart, the kind that would normally make your eyes glaze over, and just ask it to explain what the data actually means. It's basically like having a data analyst on call 24/7. Now, let's see how all this starts to build on itself. Because Gemini isn't just some tool you use in a vacuum. It actually connects to the apps you're already using every single day, becoming a kind of central command hub for all your information. But plugging directly into your Google Drive, your Gmail, your Docs, and more, Gemini can find, summarize, and even take action on your personal info. And this is important. It only does this when you explicitly tell it to, and it's not using this to train its models. It's just there to help you. And this is where it becomes an absolute superpower for productivity. Instead of you having to manually search through a decade of messy emails or a totally disorganized drive, you can just ask a simple, plain English question. This is where commanding Gemini to structure information becomes so incredibly useful. You can feed it a messy brain dump of ideas for a team offsite, and with a simple command, have it instantly organize everything into a clean, professional agenda in a table format. Okay, so we've seen what's possible. Now let's get into the how. I'm going to walk you through a simple but really powerful framework for writing the perfect prompt pretty much every single time. This four-part structure is the secret sauce. First, you give the AI a role. Think, you are an expert financial analyst. Second, you state a clear goal. For example, write a summary of this report. Third, you add constraints. Things like keep it under 200 words, use a formal tone, and output as bullet points. And finally, if you can, provide an example to show it the exact style you're looking for. Role, goal, constraints, example. That's it. Let's put it to work with a super common task, writing an email to a new contact. This prompt here gives Gemini a really clear set of instructions. The goal and the constraints are all baked right in. And bam! Just like that, Gemini takes those instructions and spits out a polished, professional email that's pretty much ready to go. It did all the heavy lifting for you. But here's where the real magic is, the iteration.
You don't have to be stuck with the first draft. With just one click, you can tell it to refine that draft, make it more formal, more casual, shorter, you name it. This lets you dial in the exact tone you want without starting from scratch. A great pro tip is to generate a few different versions. Pick and choose the best lines from each, and then you have a perfect final product.
And always remember, you are in the driver's seat. If the output is rambling on, give it a hard word limit. If the tone feels off, give it more specific adjectives to work with. And if the format is just a mess, you can force it to give you exactly what you want. Whether that's a nice, clean, bulleted list, a table, or even valid JSON code for another program. You just have to be specific.
All right, let's wrap up by looking over the horizon a bit. The next big thing in AI isn't just about smarter models. It's about making them more connected, more capable of actually doing things in the real world for you. And a huge piece of that puzzle is something called the Model Context Protocol, or NCP. It sounds technical, but the idea is simple. It's an open source standard that's trying to solve the massive challenge of how you get all these different AIs and different software tools to talk to each other safely and reliably. The best way to think about it is like this. Remember how USB-C finally gave us one universal plug for all our gadgets? Well, MPC wants to be the USB-C for AI. A single universal connector that lets any tool plug into any AI. What this does is create a standard way for the AI you're chatting with to securely reach out and use an external tool, whether that's your company's sales database or your project management board. The end goal is to create this massive open ecosystem where new skills and tools can be plugged into your AI by anyone. And that really brings us to the final big question. If your AI assistant could securely connect to any tool or service you use, your work software, your calendar, your smart home devices, what's the very first complex, annoying problem you would hand over for it to solve? Because that is the future we are rapidly building toward.